Hello everyone, this is Carla, Kagedfish, and I am doing a video. This is an experimental video. I want to see what the video looks like on YouTube. I am recording on Ustream, and I have noticed that Ustream makes me a little choppy and it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to talk slow and see how it goes. I wanted to do, I've been promising to do a tutorial on how I sew in bindings for books. So I'm going to do a quick candy box book. It's a junk journal that I'm just going to sew some pages into, just so you can get the basic idea of how to sew in signatures into a cover. And I wanted to do this one before I do the three-tiered video, because that's coming. But I wanted to do the simple one first for those people that have never done any sewing of books. It's better to start out really simple to practice a little bit, because your first one never turns out. It never turns out. So it's one of those things that you got to do a couple of times to get the hang of. So I encourage anyone to do just a quick something that they don't care about, just to get the hang of it. So that's what I'm doing here today. And I am doing a candy box book. I was given this candy box book by somebody who doesn't know how to open boxes the way I like. It occurred to me that I am going about making the box, the cover, wrong. I had been pulling apart all the seams, but it did occur to me that I don't need to pull apart all the seams. So this is just a normal candy box, and I am just opening up the top. The glue is so good, and I thought, why am I tearing apart the glue on the sides and then gluing in more on the spine to strengthen it when all I have to do is cut around it? So I'm going to open up the bottom, or the top, and open up the bottom. And this is pretty tough glue here. Okay, so the tops and the bottom is open. And these boxes always have a seam on the side. And here is the seam. I have noticed that when I try to do a close-up, the video freezes. So I'm going to try not to do that very much, and let's see how this works. There's a seam right here. I used to undo that seam, but if I'm going to glue something onto the spine anyway, I'm just going to leave that as it is, and I am going to cut the other side. I'm just going to cut it down the side here to open it up. Now this candy does not have a bag inside of it, so there's a little bit of chocolate, just a tad bit. So I am just going to use a little baby wipe and just kind of clean that up a little bit so I don't have a lot of chocolate, or I don't have any chocolate on my book. All right, so now I've got the cover, and now I have two layers of cardboard in the center, because that's where they enclosed their box. So now I don't have to make that spine stronger, because it's got a double layer anyway. So now all I'm going to do, and I'm going to go over to my rotary cutter and do this. I kind of got it smunched in here a little bit. It happens. I am just going to cut all around here and cut off these tabs and make my sides of my book a little bit straighter and nicer. So I will be right back. All right, so what I'm left with is a cover with a little chunk taken out of it because they didn't realize that I didn't want that. And all I did was cut off the little tabby things. I'm just going to throw those away. So I have my cover now. I am doing just a junk journal. So I'm using throwaway papers. I am using some magazine pages, some map pages, some junk mail that I'm going to make side pockets with. This is a piece of paper. I think it was packing for something that I thought was cool. I'm just going to put some of that in. A book page picture and some textbook pages. And that's all I'm going to do. That's what I'm using. And how I figured out what size to make my pages, I measure my box or my cover, and this one is 6. It's almost 6 1/4. It's about 6 1/4, about somewhere around there, by 3 inches. Okay, so what I need to do, I like my pages, let me get one that's folded, I like my pages to tuck into the book a little bit and have a little bit, and I didn't measure this very well because they are too long, basically. I like to have them just a little bit below the cover so that there's a lip of cover all the way around. These are exactly the same height as the cover, and I'm just going to go with it. And they're just a little bit short on the side here. That way your pages tuck into your book and very nicely. So that's what I'd like to do. So since I'm trying to speak here. Since the height of the book is about a 6 1/4, I would shorten my page a little bit, probably to 6 inches, just so that they tuck in better, and I didn't do that. It is 3 inches wide, so I would double that because you're folding your page over, and minus a little bit. So if this is 3 inches, I would double it to make it 6 inches, and I would probably take off a 1/4 inch, maybe just a tad bit more than a 1/4 inch, just to make the pages tuck in. So that's what I've done here. I have got a page that is 6 1/4. It's too long, by a little less than 6 inches. And so what I would do after cutting my pages, I would fold it in half, and there would be my page. So I've showed you all these pages, and what I want to do is make my signatures, and I would like to have a magazine page picture in the center because I cut them that way. a book page, a map page, and something else. I'm just going to put that one in there for now, and that is one signature. So to do that with all the rest of them, I'm going to put this one in, a map page in, and a book page. So I've got 4 pages, 4 folios in each of my signatures. And the last one, we'll do map first. I kind of like to switch it up a little bit. Then this one, oh no, I better put that one in next. Put my junk mail in last. So I've got 3 signatures to sew in. So 3 signatures. Now I am showing you how I do this. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I am trying to make things, I'm trying not to be such a perfectionist. I am trying to get over this. So I have been not measuring a whole lot when I'm doing this. I'm kind of eyeball it. It goes faster, and I've been pretty happy with it. So I am looking at my spine here. I've got my ruler, and my spine is, they're never a nice, easy amount of space to divide into 3. This one is, it's more than a half. It's a little bit more than a ½ inch wide. So what I would do is get a pencil. I like pencil because then I can erase it. I might have to use a pen so you can see. I'm going to use a pen this time just so you guys can see the little dots. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 1-inch mark. I'm kind of eyeballing it somewhere in the middle of my spine. So I've got my 1 right where I think the middle is. Like I said, it is not exact science for me. And this is how I've been doing it for a long time. It works out fairly well. So I am going to eyeball the center where I have my 1-inch mark, and then I am going to make another mark at about 1/8 of an inch on either side of that, just so that they're kind of even. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom. I'm going to eyeball, I'm going to guesstimate what I think the center of that spine is. I'm going to line up the 1-inch mark on the center, make a little dot there, 1/8 of an inch on either side of it. And it's not perfect. I'm going to show you it's not perfect. Hopefully this will show a little bit. It's just 3 dots on the top and the bottom. And they're not exact. They are just guessed. Guessed. I'm making up words now. All right, so that's what I would do. And then I would draw a line across that and across the bottom. I should have done the long ways lines first. And then I am connecting those first dots or lines all the way down. This is why I like to do it in pencil, because then I can erase all these lines. My pen didn't work. Try that again. And then I'm going to do the center one. And then I'm going to do the last one. All right. So I end up with something kind of like that. I'm doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch today, so I am guesstimating, sorry my computer's doing funny things, I'm guesstimating the middle somewhere, and I'm just going to draw a line around on that. So I'm ended up with something like that. All right. This looks pretty funny right here because that's where the seam of the box is. You don't want to sew your signatures into the crease of the spine. You want to come off that spine a little bit. You don't want to weaken your spine, weaken your book by sewing directly into the crease there. So, and I can see that mine are a little off, just a tad, but that's okay. I like to use a phone book, and I have a push pin that I make my holes with, and that is because I haven't gotten it all yet. The push pin makes a big enough hole for my needle to go through, so that's what I've been using. So I am just going to put holes into where the lines cross. There's 3 on the top. Trying to get this in here. It's a little tough. And when I put it in, I kind of roll it around a little bit, make that hole kind of big. You can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of rocking it. Get it in there first. I don't usually use this push pin, and then I rock it around a little bit, make that hole fairly large so that you can see them on the other side. I didn't make that hole very large. So that you can see them on the other side. So they go through, you know they're going through. And you want to do that to all of your intersections, your line intersections. And this is kind of tough because I'm going through 2 things of cardboard. So that's all I am doing. And the bottom ones, my thumb's getting tired pushing this in. Roll it around, make that hole large. And the last one, I'm going to turn it over to see if I can see all my holes fairly well. I need to, and I'm just poking it through to make sure that make sure you don't get your fingers on the other side. That one wasn't all the way through. Rock that around a little bit, make that hole large. Wow, I didn't get all the way through there. That's going to be a nice strong spine. Get through that one. Through the other side. And did I get the middle? Yeah. All right. I didn't do the bottom though, did I? I like to make my holes on the top and the bottom of my spine about a 1/4 inch from the ends. You don't want them too close to the edges because your cover will rip. And that is close enough to the end for it to be pretty secure. So that's what we're looking at. I've got 3 holes on the top where those lines intersect, 3 holes in the center where those lines intersect, and 3 holes on the bottom for my 3 signatures. If you have more signatures, you're going to need more holes. So then I take my signatures and line them up a little bit. Now, a normal person would make a template, and maybe I should do that. I am going to do this. I'm lining up my page so that it's kind of in the middle here. Like I said, this is not exact science. If you want exact science, there's other places to go that are going to tell you exactly how to measure everything perfectly. I really just like to eyeball it, just get the job done. So I've made 3 little marks here on this what I'm going to use as a template. You see it a little bit better that way. This tells me where my holes are on my cover. And then what I do is I open up I use a phone book. You can use a magazine, you can use a book, you can use anything. Here's one of my signatures. Make sure all my pages are together. I put that right in the crease of the book. Now this phone book will hold put my template in there too. Will hold the pages, and I always forget. Another thing that you should do is actually clip the pages together so that they're not moving. I always forget to do it. You can use paper clips, you can use anything. Get my push pin, and I'm just going to make a hole right where I made the marks. Make sure they go all the way through. And I'm going to undo just long enough to get my template out. And I'm going to keep those clipped together so the holes don't move. I'm going to do that for the rest of the signatures. My pattern in here so I know where to poke my holes. Put it in the spine there so it doesn't move. And poke the holes in. And of course I forgot to clip them again. I always forget to clip them. It is so much easier if you clip your pages together so they're not moving. The holes will stay all together. And then my last signature. You want to make sure your pages are all upright the way you want them as well. You don't want pages upside down. And then make my holes, and of course I forgot to clip them again. Get my template out of there, and I'm going to clip those together. All right. Don't need my push pin or the pattern anymore, and I don't need the phone book anymore. Those out of the way. So here's my cover. Here's my signature. I am using some dental floss to sew my signatures together. I like dental floss. It's nice and strong. This is not a very big book. It's not very, sometimes you need something a little sturdier. I like to make mine about 3 lengths from the book, maybe a little bit more. I like a lot to work with. So that's what I'm using. And I am just using I like to use my thimble. I was a quilter, so I've kind of gotten used to pushing in a needle with a thimble. And if I don't have a thimble on, I hurt my finger. Let me grab just a needle. And this is my pin cushion. I had a child who liked to push my pins into the couch and my needles and stuff, so I had to hide them. So I came up with that so that he wouldn't find my pins and needles when I wasn't looking. Just going to thread my needle, and I am going to start with the center hole. All right, so This is where it all the fun is. You can go from the center to the outside, or the outside to the center. And I am going to go outside to center, just so that I can tie my threads off on the outside. You can tie your threads off on the inside if you like. It's just a matter of preference. Start on the top. You start on the middle hole, and you want to start with one of your side, the first one on one side. So make sure my page is up the way I want it to be. And I am going to go through the middle hole on this first side. Oops. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. I am going through that first hole right here. Not the middle hole. You want to leave a long string on the end, because that's where you're going to be tying it off. And with these clips on here, it makes this page pretty heavy. So you want to go through the middle hole. It should be already punched for you. And hold your string, because that will, if it comes out, you got to do it all over again. So you're coming up through the middle hole, go down through the bottom, through all the pages, and you want to go through the same line. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. The same line, the first line that you started with, you want to make sure that you're going through the first line on the bottom. And you can line up that signature with that line so you can see where I am sewing that into, okay? So, and just pull that out. Uh-oh, I did it wrong. Oh, no, I didn't. It's been a while since I've done this, sorry. So then you want to go back. No, you don't. We're going to do it the way I usually do it. I don't know why I tried to do it that way. Forget what I said. I am going to go from the center. I'm going to put my needle in the center. I'm leaving a tail in the center. Doing it on the outside is confusing me for some reason. I'm going to go in the first line, the middle hole. Okay. So I'm on the back here. Boy, these little clips are very heavy. And then I'm going to make sure I'm on the same line, and I'm going to go through that. And through the holes on the bottom of the page. Pull that. All right. And then I'm going to go to the top hole and go down through the top hole and through that same line, the first line on the top. And then I am going through the middle hole, first line, that you already have a thread in, and going up through, and I kind of like to leave it a little loose so I can see what I'm doing, so I can see the holes that I'm going through. You want to go through those holes in the middle again, just like that. All right. So it's very, very loose now. So I want to make sure that everything is pretty tight. I don't want it so tight that the pages are buckling. And I am taking these clips off because they are really driving me crazy. It's probably why I don't use them. So I am tightening those up to make sure they are not right, because I have it on backwards. So let me do that again. I have my page upside down. Let me rethread my thread here and try it one more time. Sorry, guys. Just trying to get this done, and I don't want to do all the first steps all over again, so we're just going to make it work. Don't always know what I'm doing here. So, okay, so we're going to start all over again. I'm going to go through the first line again. I'm starting in the center, my needle all the way through. I'm going to hold on to this tail, going in on the first line, center hole, kind of keeping it a little loose so I can see what I'm doing. I am going, making sure I'm on the same line down through the cover. Get a hold of that needle. I probably don't need this thimble on. And then I'm going up the top holes of that. And I probably should have the clips on it because the holes are moving. So let me thread the holes on one at a time so I don't make new holes. Okay, and I'm going to pull that up. Going to go all the way down to the bottom hole and go in. And I'm also going to go in the same line on the bottom and pull that. Kind of keeping it loose, making sure I've still got my tail. And then back up the center hole where I already have a thread and up. Kind of tighten that up just a tad. Why is that just not working? What is holding it up here? Did I do it again? I did it again. I sewed it in upside down again. What is wrong with me? I'm sewing it upside down so the holes are not matching correctly. And that's what's throwing me off here. Sorry, guys. So the top of the page, the top of the book. This time it should work. Going in through the center. That's why I was sewing it in the wrong line. Holding on to my end, going up the same line and through the book pages. Making sure I hang on to my tail. This shouldn't be this complicated. I'm sorry, guys. It really is really easy. Down the end, and I'm making sure that I have the same line that I'm sewing on so that the page is on the same line here, because that will mess you up too. I have done that also. See if I can not do it this time. And then I'm going up the middle hole through the hole that already has a thread going through it. Let's see if it worked this time, guys. Tightening that up just a little bit. Yay, they lined up this time. My bottom hole is a little bit closer to the end than my top hole is. All right, so I've got these two tails. I'm going to take my needle off now. And I want to make sure that my tails, which they are not, are on either side of this middle, the middle thread. So I don't know if you can see it because it's white on white. I've got this thread that goes all the way from the top to the bottom. I want to make sure one tail is on one side of it and one tail is on the other side. I want to make sure that they're fairly tight, but not so tight that they're buckling the cover. Make sure that they've got no legs or anything in there. And then I am just going to make a square knot right here. And I'm just going to cut off those tails. So that is the first signature finally sewn into the book. All right, so we're going to go to the second one now. I'm going to get another length of floss. 1, 2. If I do it 3 lengths, I know I have plenty to tie off with and all that other good stuff. I'd like to have more than not enough. And I don't have to fight with it. Threading my needle. Let's make sure I've got the right side up this time. I'm going to go through the center hole. And I'm going to make sure I've got a tail. Hanging onto that tail. My thread's getting caught up in my little thingies here, my clips. And I want to go through the center hole on the center line in the center here. And I'm going to go to the bottom hole in the center, come up through that, and through the pages, kind of at the same time. It doesn't have to be, you can do it separately. This time I'm going all the way to the top. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way you go. Top to bottom, bottom to top, as long as you've got that long string in the center. So I went through the pages. Now I'm going through the center top hole in the book. And my thread's getting caught up on my clippies here. And then I want to go through the center hole on the center line. And my page is nice and loose, so I can just go through that. Try not to go through your thread that's already there. You don't want to separate that. It'll weaken the thread. Try to get it on the side. And then I'm going to go through the pages, trying again not to go through the thread that's already there. You can use embroidery floss for this. You can use string, a yarn, anything. So then I get up there. I'm going to make sure that my tails are on either side of that long center thread. Get rid of my needle. And I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. I'm just pulling until it looks tight. Make sure it's tight on the other side. It is. And then I'm just going to make another square knot. And cut it off. Alrighty. I'll take my clips off. My tails are sticking to me. It's hot in here. And then we've got the second signature all sewn in. So for the last one, same thing. I'm going to do 3 links again. Cut that off. Thread my needle. Sorry, I got confused there. It really isn't that hard. All right, here's my last signature. I'm going to go make sure that it is facing the correct way, not upside down. I'm going to go in through the center hole that I punched earlier. Make sure I have a tail here. I kind of hold on to it with my thumb. I'm going to go through that last center hole that I've got. I'm going to go up to the bottom one. I'm going to go through the cover. And then I'm going to go through the pages. Just like that. And I'm going to go all the way to the top. I'm going to go through the pages. I can kind of see, I'm unthreading my needle. I can kind of see where I poked those holes in the pages. And this thread must be shorter. Or I'm really, really loose here because it doesn't want to give me any room here. Going in through that last hole on the top. Going in through that center hole. Making sure I don't go through that thread that's already there. I'll pull that up. And then I'm going to go through the pages there, trying not to go through that thread that's already there again. And I want to make sure the tails are on either side of that thread that's all the way to the top and bottom. All the way. One tail on one side and the other tail on the other side. I'm going to get rid of my clips here. Make sure it's tight. Make sure there's nothing going on the back. And make another knot. And cutting off. So that is my Candy Box Junk Journal book. So you can see that you've got the threads here. You can cover that with duct tape or leave it. I usually leave it. And then you've got your 3 signatures. And you're good to go. So they're all sewn in there pretty straight. They're all pretty secure. And everything is good. I did use a piece of junk mail. Let me get rid of my thimble. I used a piece of junk mail here. And I folded over the flaps to make pockets. So I'm just going to glue that now. I just made the page a little bit longer. And I can put a little bit of glue on the sides. I guess I better do both sides. It's been a long time since I've done a video, and I'm a little out of practice, guys. I'm sorry. And then I did that with the other side too. I made that little flap so I could make a little side pocket. I'm just going to put some glue on the ends here. And fold them down so that so I can put stuff in there. Just like that. And I did make one of these mat pockets. I actually put a little pocket in there too. So, sorry about all the confusion. I might have to do this all over again. Like I said, it's experimental video to see how well it shows up on YouTube. And I wasn't expecting it to be this long with all my mistakes and stuff. It was supposed to be much faster than that, so I apologize. But that is a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And we've got just a little fun little junk journal now to do something with. So thank you for watching.